Hello YouTube. In this video I'm going to talk about setting goals and achieving those goals. And in this video specifically I'm going to be talking about goals in the martial arts, various belts of rank, up to and including the black belt. Now in the martial arts, of course, the black belt is not the end. It's just the beginning. Once you get a black belt, that means that you have completed your initiation into the martial arts and it's time for you to learn the real stuff. So the black belt, that's just the beginning. So anyway, although this video is going to focus on goals in the martial arts and belts in the martial arts, it can apply to any kind of goal you've got in life. You could take what I'm saying and apply it to just about anything. If you want to get good grades in school, if you want to get on a certain sports team, if you want to get a certain degree in college, if you want to get a certain job promotion, whatever, anything. So anyway, to set a goal, first you got to realize your goal. What do you want? Do you want to get a black belt in the martial arts? Do you want to get that college degree? Then you formulate a plan. You apply it. You formulate a plan. You say, well, I'll sign up at a martial arts school, and then you start your lessons. And you also realize what you need to do to get that goal. And also you take it step by step. In most schools, you start out as a white belt, and then often, which is belt number 2, is a yellow belt. That's what's often the next belt up. Not all schools follow that order, but it's common to have yellow belt as number 2, and then you go on to your next belt, next belt, next belt. Then eventually you get the black belt, which in most schools is the highest color belt, that your belt color doesn't change after you get the black belt. That's how it is in martial arts, in most martial arts schools. Not to say that your ability in the martial arts doesn't change. It always changes. As long as your belt color, you'll keep getting better and better and better. But your belt color itself doesn't change once you hit black belt. In most schools, that's how it is. Some schools, they might give you a red belt if you're really, really advanced. But in most schools, once you get the black belt, your belt color doesn't change. Although you still progress, of course, in the martial arts. But the belt color, that usually doesn't change after black belt. So anyway, you have to have a plan. Well, first you have your goal, then you have a plan, and then you apply the plan and you work really, really hard. You got to really push yourself. Just push yourself to your limits and beyond, and be driven and just work hard, hard, hard. But for all that hard work, there's also something else you got to do. You got to work smart. If all you do is work hard, well, horses work hard. A horse which just pulls around a plow all day doesn't accomplish much aside just from pulling around that plow. It's hard work. But if you work hard but you don't work smart, you're just going to be like that horse. You also have to work smart, and that's where that planning comes in. You got to know what you're doing. You got to work smart. You got to speak to your instructors, get their advice. So you need to work hard and smart. You need both those things. And also, people say that patience is important. Well, yes, it is, but you also have to make sure you work efficiently and get your goal done in a timely manner. You see, usually, well, for me, always, just about all the time with me at least, whenever I set a goal for myself, part of the very goal itself is to get it done within a certain time period. So, yes, you should be patient, but you also have to get it done in a timely manner. You got to make sure to get it done within that time period, whatever it is you set for yourself, or whatever it is the circumstances set for you. For instance, let's say you want to get good grades in school, you want to get A's. You've got a test coming up. You've got to learn the material. Now, getting good grades, does that take patience? Well, yes, it does. To get good grades, you got to learn that material well enough, and to learn the material well enough, that means you've got to put in long, hard hours of studying, and you've got to study, study, study. You're not going to know the material the instant you open the book. You got to put in a lot of time, and it takes a lot of patience to learn the material well enough to get your A. But you also have to get it done within a certain time period. For instance, let's say you've got a test on Friday. That means you got to know the material by Friday, whatever part of the book or whatever part of the class it is your test is going to be on, whatever chapter. You got to know that chapter by Friday. If you wait till Saturday or Sunday, that's no good. Doesn't matter how well you know the material on Saturday or Sunday, your test's on Friday. And if you don't know the material well enough by Friday, you're not going to do well on the test. You're not going to get your A. So, yes, you have to be patient, but you also have to get things done within a timely manner, within a certain time period. And that means knowing the material by Friday, not being patient and taking your time and not knowing the material until Saturday or Sunday. You got to know it by Friday. That's your deadline. And if you just sit around being patient and don't learn it by Friday, you're not going to get your A. That's all there is to it. And that goes with any kind of goal. If a certain belt in the martial arts, you might set a certain time period to obtain that and so forth. So anyway, you have to get things done in a timely manner, and you have to work hard, and where patience is important. I do have another video on that where I talk more in detail about patience. And you have to have a plan, and you have to know what you're doing. And that means talking to your teachers. In the martial arts, you got to talk to your instructor, or your sensei as they call it. Say, sensei, what do I need to do to get to whatever belt I need? Like if you're, even when you're first starting out, going for as a white belt, going for your yellow belt, you should perhaps talk to your sensei. Hey, sensei, what do I need to do to get a yellow belt? And then you work your way up the belts, and then when you get the brown belt, the highest level of brown belt, which is usually right before black belt, because with the higher belts, usually there's multiple levels per belt. So you're at the highest level of brown belt, which is right before black belt. You've got to talk to your sensei. Hey, sensei, what do I need to do to get a black belt? Could you give me some advice? Tell me what I need to work on. I'm not saying that you should be arrogant the way some people are. I had this college professor once, and he talked about how he had some really arrogant students who'd say, sometimes come in and say, hey, professor, I always get A's in all my classes. I should be able to get an A in your class, blah, 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 blah. And he didn't really care much for those kinds of students, that kind of arrogance. He had much more respect for a student who says, hey, professor, I'd really like to get an A in your class. Could you just tell me what I need to do, what I need to work on? And the same thing with going for a black belt or any belt in the martial arts. You shouldn't go to say to your sensei, hey, sensei, I should be a black belt by now. I'm so good, blah, 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 blah. No, you should say, hey, sensei, I'd really like to get a black belt. Could you tell me what I need to do, what I need to work on, so I could bring myself up to it? That's what you need to do. You have to get your instructor's advice and guidance. Otherwise, that goes along with having a proper plan and working smart. If you don't do that, you'll be like that horse pulling around a plow. You'll be working really hard, but not getting anywhere. So you have to work hard, but you have to work smart too. And working smart, part of that means talking to your instructor and getting their advice, getting their instruction. Don't try to learn on your own. Otherwise, why sign up for classes in the first place? Why sign up for a martial arts class if you could just learn it on your own? Or why go to school if you can just learn the material on your own? You have to speak to your instructor. It's just common sense. So, like I said, don't be arrogant. Be respectful. As the example I gave, hey, sensei, I'd like to get a black belt. Could you tell me what I need to work on? And then work hard, and you should be able to do it. So that's how you do it. That is how you achieve your goals. That's how you set your goals, and that is how you achieve your goals in life.